Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning back into the Queen Ahmadiyyah show. So, as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click the notification bell and click the word all so that you're notified each time that I go live. And also, don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Queen Ahmadiyyah and on Twitter at DGoddess27. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, we got Mike L, Judy, Nick Joe, Donna. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Empress, Brittany, Akata, Patrick, Jawara. Okay, Brittany. Okay, so let's get into it. So we're going to be talking about the stages of consciousness. And the reason I'm talking about this at this particular time is because it is very imperative for us to all raise our levels of consciousness, right? Because with all the stuff that's going on, I keep reminding you guys that we are engaged in spiritual warfare. So in spiritual warfare, we need to use the full capacity of our minds. We need to be consciously aware, and we need to be raising our vibrational frequencies and energy. And I told you that the elites have been trying to, through the use of media and propaganda, the lamestream media that is in propaganda, they have been trying to lower our vibrational frequency so they can usher in the Antichrist, which is the demonic satanic energy that they are bringing in via Project CERN. And the Antichrist, again, is not a physical person, but it is actually an energy that they are trying to harness, okay, for nefarious purposes, no less. So with that all being said, all of these things that I'm going to speak about are within the Bible in allegorical form and in context, and also the book of Revelations speaks of a lot of the things that are going on right now. Now, with that being said, some people feel that we have 7 stages of consciousness, right? And there, in my opinion, is 4 stages of consciousness. Not 7, there's 4, and there's 7 stages of development. Now, some people consider development the same as consciousness. I consider them separate things that work together. Okay, so 4 stages of consciousness and 7 stages of development. And I'm going to be discussing all of those. So with that being said, the 4 stages of consciousness are earth, water, air, and fire. Okay, so when you're on the earth level of consciousness, which is the first level, that's the lowest level, right? Because on earth, this is depicted in the book of Genesis in the Bible when it talks about Noah and the ark. Now, in the story of Noah and the ark, you remember there was a great flood that was coming. It's going to destroy all of the bad people. And so Noah had to build the ark and take, 2 of each animal and 2 of each animals onto the ark. But also the part that people often leave out is that some of the animals, he took 7 pairs of them, right? Took 7 because those were the animals that were beneficial, most beneficial, right? So that all being said, okay, in the book of Genesis, when they talk about Noah's ark, they talk about destruction. When everything was in chaos, the people were being killed because of the bad deeds they had been doing. They didn't listen when Noah warned them that the flood was coming. And then when Noah was on the flood, remember, the people who didn't listen to begin with, they came running and trying to get on the ark, but it was too late. That is all chaos, confusion, and pandemonium. So when you're operating on the lowest level of consciousness, you will find yourself having numerous problems. You will find yourself always stressed out, always worried about things. You'll feel like nothing is going right. This is the stage where people feel and experience low self-esteem, loathsome feelings and things like that. Always thinking someone's out to get them. Fearful. Fear is on the lowest level. That's why they try to use fear mongering to keep our vibrational frequencies down, because they're keeping you, by doing so, they're trying to keep you in the lowest level of consciousness. Because the higher you raise your consciousness, the more in tune that you become to the universe and more spiritually in tune with everything that's going on around you. And you start actively using the optic thalamus and your third eye. You start using that and seeing past things, past the smoke screens, right? And seeing past the matrix that we in fact live in. And if you think about the movie The Matrix, the woman who wrote that, Sophia Stewart, okay, I did a live on her 2 years ago on Facebook and how the whole theory was stolen from her, right? But with that all being said, the original name of the book that she wrote about the Matrix, it was called The Third Eye. Okay? So the Matrix depicts all of these things that I'm about to talk about. So like I said, when you're on the earth level, which is the lowest stage, stage 1, you are in fact at the, involved in chaos and all of that. Now, in order to rise above this, you have to go into the second stage, which is the stage of water. You have to rise into the water. Now, in the Bible, it talks about baptizing, being baptized. And, in church, they tell you to, you need to be baptized to wash away your sins. That is an allegory. That is mythical. That is a fictitious story. That is just something that is used to have a hidden meaning, okay? You can't really just get in a tub of water, get in a pool of water, or just go to church and get in the water and have the pastor pour water on top of you, and that's going to wash away your sins magically. That's not how it works. In reality, when you basically rise into the water, then there is a flood within you, a flood of all of the negative things that you've been dealing with, all of the stressful things you've been going through. All of those things can be washed away. And in fact, you are baptized, okay? That is when you're baptized, not literally getting in water, but rising to another level of consciousness, okay? You need to turn that down because I don't want that on my live. That's going to get me a copyright strike. So cut that down, please. So that all being said, you have to rise into the next level of consciousness, which is the water. And when you rise into the water, it literally destroys all of the negativity, all of the feelings of chaos and pandemonium and low self-esteem, all of the pessimism, right? You become more optimistic, all right? And so with that being said, it is destroying those feelings and those emotions and everything, just as the flood destroyed the earth in Genesis, right? So when they say in the Bible that the earth will be destroyed by fire, it won't be destroyed by water, but it'll be fire next time, right? So in the second stage, the earth has been destroyed by the water because you've risen to the second stage. Now, from the second stage, you have to rise into the air. Now, when you rise into the air, this is where you become into your Christ-like consciousness, okay? In the Bible, in Thessalonians, 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 17, it talks about meeting Christ in the air. It says, then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air. And so shall we ever be with the Lord. Okay, so you're not really going to just go up into the clouds, really going to go up into the sky and meet Jesus. That's not what it is. That's an allegory, okay, a mythological story to use to prove a point. When you rise into the third level, when you rise into the third level, the third stage of consciousness, which is the air, when you get to the air, you will be absent of thoughts. You won't be worried. You won't be stressed out. You will have to meditate to get to this level. The only way to rise from the lowest level of consciousness into the higher levels, the only way to do it is through meditation. You have to meditate. There's no other way you can do it. And with that being said, when you rise to the air, you will be absent of thoughts. When you meditate, you're not thinking, you're freeing your mind, you're relaxing your mind, right? So you rise into the air. And at that point, that's why they say you will meet Jesus in the air. You will meet Christ in the air, the Lord in the air, because at that point, you will be in your Christ-like consciousness. Now, those of you who remember when I talked about this before, the Christ within, when I talked about the colostrum, the oil that comes from the colostrum once a month, right? This sacred oil called the chrism or Christos. And this oil goes down the 33 vertebrae of the spine, down to the solar plexus, and then it travels back up. After it gets the energy from the solar plexus, goes to the sacred plexus, then travels back up the 33 vertebrae of the spine, which is why they say Christ died at the age of 33, right? Then it travels on upward, and then it goes across the vagus nerve. Then from there, it touches the optic thalamus. And once it does that, it illuminates inside of you. It illuminates. That's why they say a light bulb came on in your head. If you remember, I told you this before. Now, when you achieve this, which you are capable of doing this once a month, 12 times a year, and you have to do this by eating clean, right? Drinking distilled spring and alkaline water, okay? Refraining from smoking cigarettes, consuming alcohol, sweets, and all of those things. You have to eat healthy, a plant-based diet, and you have to abstain from sexual intercourse and all of these things to achieve this Christ-like energy, right? Some call it the Kundalini energy. Okay, so with that all being said, when you achieve this, you're in your Christ-like consciousness state. So you rise into the air. Now, from there, the next level is the fourth stage of consciousness, which is the fire. So when you rise into the fire from the air, that is when you have a new mind. Your entire mind has been, it has ascended, right? So you take on new ideas, new thoughts, new ways of thinking, and you're at the highest level of your consciousness. With that all being said, now you go back to where it says in the Bible that it won't be water, but fire next time. So the first time that you got rid of the earth, you destroyed all of the negative things that were holding you down by rising into the water, right? The second stage. So the water destroyed the earth, which is the chaos and the pandemonium you experience. But when you get to the fourth stage, there is fire. It won't be water, but it'll be fire next time. So that's why they say that in the Bible. This is what they're talking about. It's all allegorical form. Okay? So with that being said, once you rise into the fire, you have now transcended or ascended